it's so important to network with other LEPs and not be alone, because it can feel really isolating when you leave a district position where you've had this team of psychologists that are really close and you always consult with each other, to just being on your own. It can feel isolating and overwhelming. So connecting with others. So Empower LEP was so instrumental in me getting started.
Welcome to the Empower LEP Collaborative Podcast, a podcast to empower, inspire, and collaborate with aspiring and practicing licensed educational psychologists and like-minded professionals. We're your hosts, Jana Parker and Bethany Zoller, bringing professionals together to talk business, private practice, and find inspiration from our community.
Well, welcome to another episode of the Empower LEP Collaborative Podcast. I am Bethany Zoller, one of your hosts, and we also have
Jana Parker.
And we are excited today to talk with Stephanie about her LEP journey and her practice. How are you today, Stephanie?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Yes. So the purpose of this podcast is kind of to get people's stories so that we can learn from each other and, just kind of share our journeys, because I don't know how you were when you started this, but I didn't know what I was doing. Right. So tell us about your practice. What's its name? Where are you located? That sort of thing.
Sure. Okay. So I'm a credentialed school psychologist and a licensed educational psychologist. I started my business Learning Pathways about 4 years ago. It was in the fall of 2019. So currently I do that full time. I see clients for diagnostic assessments. I contract with school districts to do psychoed evals. I do independent educational evaluations and just different kind of consultation and collaboration with different people. I also am the president of the Northeastern California Association of School Psychologists, which is our CASPA affiliate up in NorCal. And starting just a couple of weeks, I'm joining the Sac State School Psychology graduate program as an adjunct faculty member. So I'm really excited about starting something new.
That's awesome.
Yes.
What are you going to teach?
I'm going to supervise an assessment practicum for the grad students.
Awesome.
So they have a clinic there. They have like a diagnostic assessment clinic. So I'm going to be supervising one of the practicums 1 day a week.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I love my adjunct gig. It's like my favorite.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
It really for me at least, it keeps me like excited about the career path and kind of just still engaged in what's going on. It's good. I hope you really enjoy it.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
So what led you to LEP?
So I had worked in school districts for about 8 years, kind of part-time and full-time. When I had babies, I went part-time. And I just wanted something different. I just wanted a change. I was kind of sick of doing the same thing every day. And I didn't dislike it, but it wasn't something that I was super excited about. And I wanted to challenge myself and grow. And I wanted to kind of work for myself and pick my cases and do what I wanted and have more flexibility. So I just made the leap and I took the exam and passed. And then I quit my district job, and I didn't quite jump in like full on to the LEP. It was kind of a side hustle for a while. And I got a job part-time for a contract company as a school psych. So I did that. And then I started my LEP business on the side, and it was right before COVID. It was like fall 2019. So not great timing, like the world shut down just a couple months after that. So it was a slow start for me. But then it has grown and it's really thriving now. So it's been a journey for sure.
Yeah. So how many years were you a psych before you switched? 6? Is that what you said?
I want to say 8.
Oh, 8. 8 years. And did you work for the same district the whole time, or were you a mover?
2 districts. I worked for 2 districts. Yeah.
I'm beginning to find a trend in school psychologists that go into the LEP world. We tend to get a little antsy.
Yep.
We're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm sick of seeing you people.
Exactly.
I'm on to something else.
Yeah.
I think you bring up a good point, Stephanie, is like some people think like, oh, if I leave the school district, like how do I know if I'm going to have any work? But it's actually pretty easy to find work, even if you're not starting your own LEP practice. You could work for, like, if you want more flexibility, there are several things you could do. I mean, some people are just doing school contract work, like how Bethany started her career, just because they don't want to go to one school district all day, every day, and they just want to go in and do assessments and come home and write their reports and just have a little bit more flexibility in their lives. And they could do that by themselves. They could do that with an agency. So there are plenty of ways. You just don't have the benefit package that you get with working full-time for a school district, or the
that's huge
salary.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's huge. And it's a risk, right? But the payoff, I think, is definitely worth taking that risk.
Yeah. I kind of think we're going to end up privatizing school psychology.
I'm wondering that too. A lot of people are making that shift. Yeah. There's so much work out there for LEPs that are open to contracting.
Yeah.
And it's just so much better.
There's something about being the outsider and being able to just come in and I've had places that were doing things that were completely wrong, and then you come in as a contractor and you just tell them, like, I can't do it unless it's done this way. I'm really sorry. And then they go, oh, okay, sure. Whereas if I had been the district psychologist and said that, they would have just been like, this is how we've always done it. And this is how we're going to do it. But having this outside person come in and say, hey, then it changes things. It's so bizarre to me, just the switch.
I know. It is really nice being independent and not having anyone to kind of report to or supervise you, or like politics, and it's just really, really nice to not deal with that.
So how many districts do you contract with?
Oh, that's a good question. A lot. Probably, like, I don't know, somewhere between 5 and 10. It kind of varies. Wow. Yeah, lately I've kind of found this niche of small charter schools that don't have enough work to like hire their own school psychologist, but they just need someone to come in and do their 8 triennials in a couple initials every year or something.
Okay. So that's a lot. 5 to 10. How many assessments a year do you do?
Too many. Last year I did 160 with the school neuropsych program, and I do not recommend it. It was too much. I literally don't even know how I survived, and I have cut way back this year. I'm hoping to do about half that this year.
Wow.
160. It was nuts. Did you actually remember who the children were?
No, nope.
I was going to say, I did 100 one year, and I remember just going into those IEP meetings going, I should take a picture of these kids.
I started writing down what they looked like, or little things about them, so I would remember in my mind which kid I was talking about. It was too much. It was way too much.
That's how I feel about all the kids that I'm doing IQ testing for right now. They're all like 4, and they're like all the same kid. Like,
right?
Which kid were you? I don't remember.
Oh man, that's amazing. Well, that's exciting. So how long do you think it took you? You were part-time school and part-time LEP. Like, once you made the full switch, were you automatically full-time, or did it take you a little while to build up?
No, it took a while. It took a good couple years, probably between 2 and 3 years, to really feel confident that I have enough work, I'm making enough income that I can do this on my own.
Yeah. Yep. And then this is not on the list of questions, but so forgive me. You operate under sole proprietorship?
For the moment. Yeah.
For the moment.
Yeah.
Well,
I met with my CPA though, who we might start changing things. I want to start hiring people.
Okay.
So yeah, I need to possibly change that. But that's something else too that people don't necessarily think about, is when you become an LEP, you are a business owner. You are a business person now, in addition to being an educational psychologist. So you have to figure out like how all that works, like marketing and getting a business license and a DBA and getting a bank account and setting your rates and invoicing and billing and all the things. And it's a lot, and it sounds overwhelming when I just rattle them off like that. And it's definitely a learning curve. But again, I think the pros way outweigh the cons.
Well, and how'd you figure it out?
Oh, sorry.
How?
Yeah. How'd you
with
learn all
help.
that?
With help. Absolutely with help. I couldn't have done it on my own.
Yeah.
A lot of research, just like Googling. I have a great accountant that I appreciate so much. He's helped me a lot. You guys, like other LEPs, have been like absolutely instrumental in my growth as an LEP. It's so important to network with other LEPs and not be alone, because it can feel really isolating when you leave a district position where you've had this team of psychologists that are really close and you always consult with each other, to just being on your own. It can feel isolating and overwhelming. So connecting with others. So Empower LEP was so instrumental in me getting started. The Testing Psychologist is another great resource. Groups on Facebook. So I started the Facebook California LEPs group that's now up to like 300 people, because I couldn't find anything like that. And I'm like, I know there are other people in the same boat trying to figure out this LEP thing. Like, we need to work together and help each other. So just kind of all of those resources together have helped me kind of figure it out. And I'm still figuring it out. I don't feel like an expert at all. But I feel pretty confident and successful. But I know that I'm going to continue to learn and grow as I keep going.
You bring up a good point, Stephanie, just about like, now you are thinking about hiring people. Like, I've hired people, right? So like, you can be an LEP and you can go and work for someone else, and you don't have to do all the business pieces. And there are definitely people who are like us, who are like, I want to, like, oh, I want to grow a team. Or even people who thought, oh, I'm never going to want to grow a team, all of a sudden realize at some point that they want to grow a team. And then there are people who are like, I really don't want to worry about that. And that's how I started out, for almost 7 years, I worked for someone else where I didn't have to do any of that stuff. I didn't have to have any of the pressure of having a business. But what I did do while I wasn't doing that was marketed myself. I networked. I went out and met people in the community who, and got my name out there from like seeing all these clients that came through the clinic and meeting different professionals. And so I used that when I went out into my own practice so that I would have business, but I think that some LEPs think that it's taking on a whole lot when they decide that they want to venture out into private practice, but you don't necessarily need to start your own right away.
No. Yeah. You can find another LEP with a business and just take like one assessment and do that and get paid as a subcontractor or something, or as an employee. But that's the really cool thing too about being an LEP, is it's flexible. Like, you can make it completely what you want it. And me and another LEP might have completely different businesses based on our passions and our interests. Like, I love testing and doing assessments, and that's all I do. Like, I'm really clear, I don't do counseling. It's not my jam. But some other LEPs do all counseling, right? So there's a lot of different options based on what you choose to do.
Yeah. I'm like, you're one after my own heart, whereas we've spoken with other people who are all like counseling, and I'm like, no.
I like both.
Here.
Yeah.
I like both.
Yeah, that is the best thing about this profession, I think, is that we have so much flexibility.
Yeah, for sure.
Having technical difficulties.
I'm gonna let Bethany get back to her questions as she's having technical difficulties.
I don't know if I can hear you now. Somebody said something.
We can hear you. Can you hear us? Yeah. Oh, she can't hear us.
It's not letting me switch. It says I have to use them. Sorry about that.
You can probably, if you click on your little microphone, you can probably switch it, but
I think it's like echoing in my ears, like when I'm talking. So I'm trying to figure out what I did, but something changed. But that's all right. I'll just be loud. Okay. I think it's better now. I think I fixed it. Okay. Sorry about that. Anyways, back to the interview. So your niche was your next question, which you already answered it, is definitely assessment. So you brought that love from school psychology land over into the LEP world.
Yep.
So you are also the bigwig of your local CASP affiliate. So are there any upcoming trainings or things that you would like to promote?
Oh, that's a great question. Yes. We
Okay.
have a workshop coming up in January. We are co-hosting it with SCASP, SCASP, Sonoma. And we are bringing in Dr. Liz Angoff to talk about giving feedback and going through the assessment.
Oh,
And she's amazing. I absolutely love her material. So we are hosting her. Let me look it up really fast and
I
see
think I'm
when it
going to
is.
that.
Yay. It's going to be so good.
Yeah. She's
So it's
doing
in
another one.
January.
She's doing another one on autism feedback
Okay,
that I'm
cool.
going to also.
Yes. So that is Thursday, January 18th. It's
okay.
called Explaining Brains, Improving Feedback After Assessments by Dr. Liz Angoff. And it's in Sonoma or on Zoom. And if people can't attend on that day, then they can watch the recording for a month after. And it's really good content for school psychs, but also especially LEPs in private practice.
What day is it again?
January 18th. And then we also have Jenny Ponzurek doing a workshop for us on March 11th on responding to requests for dyslexia, dyscalculia, and dysgraphia evaluations.
Awesome.
Yes.
How do you do all these things? What's the secret to balance?
I don't know.
You're like, that question was not written
I'll
down.
let you know when I figure it out because I don't have it. It's hard. It's an area that I need to work on, is finding that balance and saying no and not taking on too much. But also just I'm super, super organized. I have all kinds of spreadsheets and checklists and procedures and templates and all those things. So that helps me be really efficient in my work.
I'm jealous. What's your favorite like go-to for your templates and stuff?
Just my own that I kind of have crafted, like literally starting in grad school. I started this huge Word document with all the tests that I was learning and writing up the descriptions of them. And literally that same one every year, I have updated it and I still do all the time. So now it's like 50 pages or something. And then I go through and delete the things that I don't need. But it's a really solid starting place. And then just online things like AI, like I'm currently obsessed with ChatGPT. It's such an amazing tool. Click Report, School Site Click Report is another helpful tool that I've been playing around with. So any kind of efficiency hacks like that, I'm all about.
What's your favorite Chat GPT hack right now?
Recommendations. So ChatGPT, give me a recommendation to help support a 4-year-old autistic student struggling with self-regulation. Or whatever. Give me recommendations to help a high schooler that struggles with organization, executive functioning. And you can like tweak it, like give me neurodiversity-affirming recommendations, or give me 5 or whatever. You can be really specific. But it's really great for recommendations.
Yeah. Do you ever think that like someone's going to be like, oh, ChatGPT just spit this out?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I usually don't just straight copy and paste from
Yeah.
it, I'll take a few that I like and like maybe reword them a bit.
Yeah.
But it's possible.
I know. Well, I've been thinking because I've been playing around with that a little bit too, and I like fear that like ChatGPT is going to take our job. I think that's the second time I've said this today.
It is
Yeah,
the second.
really.
Yeah, we're on a second. It's been mentioned on multiple podcasts now.
Yeah.
Well, it can't write a full report for us, and it can't integrate all of the different data and like make
And sometimes what it spits out is a little nutty.
Yeah.
I mean, it
That's
definitely
true.
still you still have to be
definitely
reviewing everything. And
yeah.
All right. Well, Stephanie, what would you say are your like milestone wins? What have been the big wins that you've had since you did your LEP practice?
That's a good question. I think finally renting my own office was a big step. For a long time, I used they call it like a day office, where it's like a furnished office that you rent like by the hour. So like I would like go a month with nothing, and then all of a sudden I'd get 3 clients and need an office. So that worked for me well for a long time. And then when I finally reached a point where I was like, I need this all the time, it's time to actually rent my own office and I can put my diplomas up and my decorations and all my tests and like have a home office, was really an exciting milestone for me. What else? Um, just like some of the clients that I've worked with have been awesome and like monumental for me. Um, I pride myself on being like a neurodiversity affirming practitioner. And I try and spread that message with all of the families and clients that I work with that, there's nothing wrong with your kid. They're not disabled. This isn't a disability, it's a difference. Their brain is different. And here's all the amazing, amazing things about them. And here's the things that we struggle with and how we can help them. So that's like very much my framework going into these evaluations that I do. So last year I started doing a lot of autism evaluations because I had a pediatrician start referring like all their patients to me for autism and ADHD evaluations, which was awesome. So I was testing this high school student for autism and he met the criteria like very clearly. So I did the feedback session with his parents and explained it to him. And then they were like, can you talk to him about it? So I really leaned on a lot of Dr. Angoff's stuff because this is like, she's amazing at this. And I used a lot of her wording. And also Dr. Marilyn Montero from the MIGDAS has a really cool kind of framework of explaining an autism diagnosis. So I used that and I met with this kid or teenager and I went over it and I explained what autism is and here's what I learned about your brain. And I could tell it was like a lot for him to process. And then I was like, how do you feel about this? Like I just told you a lot of information. What do you think? And he was like, you know what? I'm really proud to be autistic, actually. And it just like, I could cry thinking about it. Like, I felt so honored to play a role in this kid's life. And like, it's a powerful position. Like, I could change this kid's trajectory, right? They could have gone to a different practitioner that was very much like kind of old school, like DSM. Here's the deficits, here's the training you need to do to teach this kid to be neurotypical. And that's not my style at all. And instead, they came to me and he was proud to learn about his differences and move forward in life. And it was just a really cool moment to feel like I was like making a meaningful impact on someone's life.
Yeah.
So those kind of wins that I have.
That's powerful. That's awesome. Good stuff. Very good stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay. Last-ish question, I think. Right? Yeah. Last-ish question. I'm sure we'll add in a couple. If you could go back to your pre-LEP self before you made the leap and give yourself some advice or encouragement, what would you tell the pre-LEP Stephanie?
I would tell her that you can do it and to be confident in her abilities and skills and training and to just take the leap and be confident. And something that I really struggled with and I still struggle with is imposter syndrome and feeling like, can I really do this? Like, can I really be an educational psychologist in a private practice? Like our family's really going to pay this much for an evaluation. Like that's crazy. So I had a hard time with that in the beginning and I still do sometimes, but it's something that I've worked on and worked through. So just promoting that self-confidence and knowing that you can do it. And it's so rewarding and worth it to just go for it. Just go for it and have confidence in yourself and know that you're going to make mistakes and that's okay. And you'll grow and you'll learn and you'll get there to the point of this thriving practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that there's a characteristic that a lot of school psychologists have. And in one sense, we like take on too much, and we just say yes and we have a hard time saying no. But that same characteristic is going to make it so that there's no way we're going to fail. Like we are just going to make it like that. I think it's in most of us, that trait. So like we got to find the balance, but also we're going to do whatever it takes.
Yeah. There's something, I don't know, we need to meet expectations. You know, like we're givers and we also need to meet expectations. Like it drives me crazy if I don't think that I have met even my own standard for myself. You know, that's probably the meanest one actually. But yeah, like we all are just, we're all wired. Well, not maybe, yes, not all of us, but probably the ones that go this path, you know?
Right.
We're watching Homeland. Have you watched, or no. We're not watching Homeland. We're watching House of Cards.
Oh.
Have you watched House of Cards? It's like it's not current, right? Okay, so we're watching House of Cards and it's about like the president and the first lady. And so like they're always up late at night with their computers, and like even if they're in bed, they have like their documents and their books and stuff. And like I cannot work at night. Like my brain does not work. I'm up at 4:30 in the morning. Like I'm a morning person. My brain goes then. Like right now, I'm like fading. I'm like, oh, okay, you know, it's almost like 5 o'clock. Like I cannot do work at night. But I said to my husband last night, honey, like I feel like I should be more like Claire and like working at night. You know, like I feel like I'm not working hard enough because I'm not, like I just watched a show instead of working on my practice. And he was like, you are being crazy. Like, like that is not real. You know, she is a fictional character and you also need to like spend time with your family, you know? So yeah, I mean, I hear you on like, we do a lot, you know, and then we never feel like we're doing enough.
Right. And then you feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
We had Melissa Holland do a workshop recently on ACT therapy, and she had talked about that, and a lot of her stuff was on strategies for us as like clinicians.
Oh, wow.
And one of the things was to like let yourself do that, like say, I'm gonna go and like watch this show in full health, and I'm going to enjoy the show and enjoy the moment, and I'm not going to be like shoulding in my mind, I should be doing this, I should be doing this. Then I'm going to watch the show in full health and it's going to be okay. And I remembered that. And I'm like, it like you're allowed to do that. Like we don't need to be working every second.
But isn't it funny though? Because we tend to, you know, I mean, our recommendations always have things about making positive health changes, you know, health movement. My diagnostic assessments almost always have, you know, make sure we're getting enough sleep and we're getting our movement and all those things. And then like, did I do that? No, all the expectations we put on ourselves.
Yeah, wow. That's a lot.
Well, Stephanie, I just want to say thank you for letting us pick your brain and telling your story. And it was lovely to get to know you more. And I'm sure we'll continue to just tell us when all these wonderful trainings are, and we'll get the word out. And just thank you so much for your time.
Of course, anytime. I'm honored that you asked me. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks, Stephanie.
Thank you for listening to the Empower LEP Collaborative podcast. Episodes can be found at empowerlepcollaborative.com. If you liked what you heard, please leave us a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcast player. If you'd like to be a guest on our show, or if you have any questions for us, don't hesitate to connect. We would love to learn more. Jana can be found at jana@empowerlep.com, and Bethany can be reached at bethany@lepcollaborative.com.